Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to yet another episode of this exclusive video series on adaptable HR. The future is now, brought to you by People Matters in association with Alight Solutions. I'm Yasmin Tak, Senior Editor with People Matters, and I will be your host for this conversation today. It is my privilege to bring to you some of the key findings from Asia Pacific's largest study on the state of HR transformation conducted by Alight Solutions in partnership with People Matters, and also talking to leading CHROs from the region on what adaptable means to them in today's context. For all the uncertainty and ambiguity about future during this time of the pandemic, one thing is clear: the future is digital and the future is for the adaptable. For HR in particular, it is about helping organizations navigate the ever-changing business and operating environment. The third edition of this Alight State of HR Transformation Study focuses on this very theme, adaptable HR, as talent and the community at large face an unprecedented situation triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic. Being adaptable is no longer a choice, it is the inevitable, it is imperative. The question is, how do we change? And for this episode, it is my pleasure to welcome Dean Tong, Managing Director, Head of Group Human Resources, UOB Group, and Shaswat Kumar, Asia Leader, Advisory, Payroll and Cloud Solutions, Alight Solutions. Welcome, Dean. Welcome, Shaswat.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you so much. So let me just give you a brief about our panelists today. Dean Tong, Managing Director, Head of Group Human Resources, UOB Group, is driving the people transformation agenda at UOB. He has done a lot of work in the space of talent and leadership across Asia, Europe, and the Americas. Having worked across multiple industries, including financial services, industry goods, consumer goods, and telecommunication, Dean has been credited for playing an instrumental role in the creation of an award-winning low-cost bank in Malaysia and a number of multi-finance businesses in Indonesia. It is a pleasure to have you with us, Dean. A lead traveler in this journey of the last few months to take on this gigantic effort of HR transformation study. Today with us, I have the privilege to welcome Shaswat Kumar, Asia Leader, Advisory, Payroll and Cloud Solutions, Alight Solutions. Shaswat has been an advisor to numerous Fortune 500 corporations on their HR service delivery transformation, shared services, offshoring, and change management initiatives. In his previous role, he led the APAC HR transformation practice at Aon Hewitt for a decade and contributed immensely to developments of toolkits and methodologies with the delivery of cutting-edge solutions for clients, and in many ways led the creation of HR transformation as a practice. A very warm welcome to you, Shaswat.
Look forward to the discussion and inputs from Dean.
Yes, thank you. Thank you both for taking the time out to be with us today. For today's conversation, we have requested Shaswat to first share some key findings from the State of HR Transformation study. So let's begin and deep dive with Asia Pacific's largest study on HR transformation. Over to you, Shaswat.
Thanks, Yasmin. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes.
Hi, Dean, once again, thanks for taking time out. Before I get into the study, some outline of who Alight is, and then why. This will explain why we do this research and continue to do this every year and trouble clients and ecosystem to share their inputs. We are HR transformation is core to who we are. We are today an enterprise scale client organization focused on providing HR transformation and related solutions for clients. We came out of heritage of Hewitt, where Hewitt innovated and created much of this space in late 90s. Since Excel's acquisition in 2004, we have been globally the largest HR services organization. We were pioneer moving all our portfolio to cloud since 2008. So that's when we started working and experimenting with Workday, and then other platforms followed. So we continue to, even today, be the largest services provider across all platforms on cloud or even on on-prem for clients. And we got it focused on things like consumer experience, employee experience since 2012 or so. So that's really heritage of who we are. And we remain very much focused on HR transformation as an space enabling the right outcomes for clients. So, and this really explains why we wanted to unpack and understand HR transformation in Asia. This is the third iteration of the study. The study, Dean, was supposed to be launched in February, and that's when COVID happened and we delayed the launch. And that's where the question to us was that to us, the core to this year's study in February was need for an adaptable HR. And it gave us a real opportunity to go out and test that framework with clients we work with. And that's when we realized that through the whole COVID challenge, because it was fundamentally a social, it's obviously a business challenge too, but it's a more social health challenge which impacts everything. And CHROs were in the center of it. So CHROs were focused on enabling businesses to continue operations. They were taking care of employees' well-being, sentiments, and trying to adjust things on an ongoing basis. HR function was collaborating really well within HR, then between HR and business, with industry peers, and in the larger ecosystem. And finally, you were seeing rapid evolution of policy changes, getting feedback, adjusting it again, and so on. So all of this behavior connects very well to what we were saying, the need for an adaptable HR. So to us, this whole amplification of situation where you can say that it was a BCP at an organizational level was validating to us the whole framework of adaptability. But the question which many clients since then, participants did ask was, is it one time or ongoing? And that's where if I go back to three iterations of the study, we have been saying this now like a broken record for now 5-6 years, is the fact that for HR, the demand is changing and it's changing across three vectors. One is the vector of business and businesses going through breakthroughs, facing the challenges of breakthroughs, whether from traditional or non-traditional competitors, and that creates a demand to adjust and then new sets of capabilities and so on. There is second vector around organization and job reconfiguration and all associated challenges around it. It's learning agility, but it's also equally about resizing, delayering, a lot of those business transformation implications of that. And the third dimension is talent aspirations and experience. While people do talk a lot about millennials, Gen Z, and everyone, but the reality is across all demographics, people have started demanding and expecting different sets of services from the even your existing employer. So that psychographic has shifted. Experience is much more central. Transparency is needed, and purpose comes earlier than everyone's thinking today than it used to come in past. So fundamentally, if these three vectors continue to create new demand from HR will be asked to be nimble and adapting to things. So that's where the whole idea of adaptable HR. Once that came through, we said that we have been talking about the value which HR brings to business or to the organization. So it's not only business, all stakeholders, that is really around outcomes which HR delivers. And then this is a mix of business come talent outcomes, I will say. Now, if you look at the other anchor was experience and the third anchor was people analytics. And we have been talking about it for now some time. But the moment you put adaptability as a concept, it starts, the same outcomes start looking different. While focus on outcomes is important, it's beyond only HR's focus. It's a joint commitment between other stakeholders and HR around the outcomes. What it does is not only it actually is a joint commitment and becomes transparent. The moment it's a joint commitment, it gives either party a right to come in, discuss, and adjust the same. The second anchor of experience, we said that experience is a discipline. The outcome is actually, end goal is adoption. And when you think of adoption, it's beyond experience. It's also have other environmental aspects. And also adoption is never one time. It's an ongoing thing. And the third piece, which is people analytics, is we have in past always talked about people analytics as being the GPS to HR. But GPS to HR also means is look at people analytics and data as a way of taking organization and HR function forward. So that's where this whole thing became the lens of navigating to the future. To make these three outcomes work, there needs to be ways of working changes, which is around design, how design is done, think cross-functional, breaking the silos, more outcome anchored, focus around customer, think experience, which is obviously it's around personas, it's around journey mapping, but it's also beyond that, because if adoption is the goal, experience is also about always looking for data and feedback to say how you can improve and validating what you are doing. And finally, most important, governance and different from compliance. Here we are talking about discipline of governance, where HR sits with business, understands the challenges, talks through talent strategy, how it's helping meet some of those challenges, supports the same with data, looks at gap, agrees on potential corrective actions, comes, does that whole discussion with COE and other HR operations peers, executes something, and then goes back and reports. So that's really the whole governance and the discipline around governance. And I will talk more about it later on, because as we have done more uh, deep dive check on data, that's the this whole discipline on governance looks like the most important discipline which pulls forward HR when it comes to executing and changing. Now, looking at this, if this is adaptable HR, the next obvious question is what it does, how it's relevant from a impact perspective. And then that's where, Dean, a quick look at the data, both from confidence and from efficiencies. And then it's not a surprise, the two are kind of increasing hand in hand. So we have in past talked about digital success is not only about platform, it's a combination of platform and HR operating model working in sync. So HR tech strategy and HR operating model, when they work in sync and work well, that's when you get the whole benefit of digital divide. And that's what we call digital success benefit, and we call that as the whole benefit and crossing the digital divide. But even here, you will see that the pattern of scoring is similar. As we looked at various combinations, what we realized was there was a subset of organizations from the organizations who are digitally successful, where they were really satisfied with HR technology. So obviously, the first take was that if they are super satisfied with HR technology, that's leading to this change in scoring and the confidence around it. So while that label is there, it's slightly misleading, and that's why we call it discipline divide. It's not because they are so satisfied on technology that this is happening. It's really because these are the organizations who have developed the discipline of problem solving. So when you look at the respondents from these organizations, they have changed the ways of working in HR. They are looking at data to identify problems, and then they are going after and solving that. And then it's no surprise, once you build that discipline, you will also make technology work. So whether you are highly satisfied on whichever platform, we started seeing some mix up there across different platforms. It was the discipline which was leading to this whole difference. It's also this discipline which makes them tend to do well across all other aspects of HR. So that's where we said that discipline divide, the moment that starts happening, you start seeing the first forking on navigating to the future. So that picks up and it starts pulling away everything else. Now, adding more layers to this and why it's beneficial, these are the organizations who tend to do better with most higher order stuff. So whether it's around working on cultural alignment, adjusting with the business innovation, keeping pace with that, looking at critical roles versus leadership training and pipeline, employee experience, than just engagement and so on. So essentially, they have time and bandwidth to do higher order stuff. Also, these are the organizations, because their HR and operations is now stable, they are able to pick up newer disruptions better and get more value out of it. If you look at data around robotics, chatbots, newer engines, these organizations are looking like two and a half times better than rest when it comes to adoption. And it's not a surprise. As a provider, when we look at our experience, it's a known thing when technology and operations works in sync. Typically, you will do well with robotics. Technology on its own will always under deliver because things like robotics and some of those newer tools have more domain leverage than a tech leverage. Now, going back to the last dimension here, looking forward, we said that if that's the case, how ready are these organizations to respond to risk and challenges linked to that? We again saw the similar difference in data. And when I look at organizations who have crossed the discipline divide, this data will be further to the right. So, and that's where, Dean, to us, the whole construct of adaptability started working, because fundamentally we believe that HR transformations are happening and are important because as you look at the changes happening in business, HR transformation, when it goes right and works well, will help support and enable all other business transformations, because all business transformations fundamentally are around organization change, job change, mindset, behavior change, and that's where HR comes to play. So this became the biggest insight, and then we have other 9 areas. Happy to take you through any other area if you want me in detail, or we can move to your questions, whichever way, Dean. Look forward to your input.
I've actually had the chance to read through all the 10 areas. So I think we can explore deeper as we speak about this later.
Definitely. Thank you, Shashwat. Thank you for taking us these key findings. I think they are very well researched. And my key takeaway would be that HR transformation is not only for HR, and it is also about enabling business transformation. And with these new ways of working for HR, it will be about being nimble and being adaptable. So thank you for so crisply taking us through such in-depth findings of the study. Our viewers would agree to that.